Most people think of drowning as dramatic, that there's going to be screaming and splashing, and that they'll notice because there's going to be a commotion. But it doesn't always happen like that. In fact, it usually doesn't. It's usually quiet. A little head just silently disappears below the surface, and that's it. So today, I'm going to tell you how to prevent that, how you and your friends and family can use a stick to keep your kids safe in the water. So here's how it works. You can use a stick, or a glass tchotchke, or a ceramic sculpture. Actually, it may even be better if the object is more fragile or requires 2 hands to hold it, but really almost any object will do. So once you have your object, I usually refer to it as the water stick, but you could call it the champagne flute of responsibility or the kettlebell of safety. It doesn't really matter that much. What you do is hand the stick to an adult at the party and let them know that whomever is holding the stick is responsible for watching the water. They should keep a constant count of the number of kids that went in, who got out, and how many should be in at any one time. They can't look away, they can't go get a beer, they stand and they watch the water at all times. If they want a hot dog, they can say, "Hey Bill, would you grab me a hot dog?" "Yeah, no, just mustard." Or the alternative is, "Hey Bill, would you take over the water stick? There's 6 kids in there right now." Then it's Bill's responsibility to watch the water 100% of the time until he passes the stick on to the next adult. So this serves 2 purposes. Firstly, it makes sure that there's one adult who's taking full responsibility of watching what's going on in the water at any given time. Secondly, it means that everyone at the party doesn't, on some level, feel responsible for watching the water almost all of the time. This is good for 2 reasons. A, it allows the other adults to actually relax and enjoy themselves and only be hypervigilant for the time that they are holding the water stick. And B, this also means that when you are holding the stick, you aren't already tired of keeping track of your kids in the water and maybe getting complacent and maybe not paying as much attention as you probably should, because frankly, it's exhausting to be on alert all the time. And this strategy allows you to rotate through the adults, passing the stick on to the next person when it starts to get old, and allows the rest of the parents at the party the freedom to relax and actually enjoy the party. Okay, so here's a few pro tips for water safety. The strategy we just talked about really applies more to older kids who maybe theoretically know how to swim and are fairly comfortable in the water. But the risk for younger kids is really more around non-swim time. Kids 1 to 4 years are typically very well supervised when they're intentionally in the water. It's when no one is thinking that anyone's in the water that's the highest risk time for them. For this reason, having a fence around pools with a door that locks that toddlers can't access can decrease drownings by as much as 50%. This is the intervention that may provide the greatest improvement in safety for your kids. Speaking of which, I think it's also important to remember that anything that inflates is not a safety device. It's a toy for fun, but it's not protective. In fact, those arm floaties, if you tried to use them without actively swimming, would encourage you to float face down. Pro tip number 3, there is no such thing as dry drowning. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist. If you pull your child out of the water and they sputter and then come back to their baseline, they're fine. You don't have to worry about something happening to them tomorrow or the day after. That's not how drowning works. So that's it for this week. So go and decorate a stick with your kids, ribbons or paint or whatever looks like fun, and get your water stick ready for your next party. And as always, remember that the best way to take care of your kids is to take care of yourself. Thanks for joining me.